All right, guys, looks like we are live. How in the world is everybody doing tonight? If I can get... All right. We are live tonight, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing? Good to see everybody here. All right, guys, looks like we are live. Yeah, let me turn that on. How in the world is everybody doing tonight? See if I can get my camera situated here where I can see everybody and everybody can see me and we can talk about stuff. Hello, Kasia. How are you, darling? Still not working. Hey guys, we're going to wait till a few more people jump on here. Looks like we got about 7 watching. Good to see everybody jumping on here. Hey Tammy, how are you? Good to see you. I'm mad at you, Tammy, because you're out in California and where it's warm and it's cold here. It's very cold here. We got the polar vortex we're dealing with. And I don't like the polar vortex at all. So, 72 degrees here, yep. Whew. It's 20-something degrees here. Or it was this morning. Anybody been fishing this week? How's everybody's fishing been? Hopefully we will have some good weather this weekend. Hello, Mr. Tim. How are you, brother? Good to see you. You going fishing tomorrow? You taking Blake with you? I know I think he was looking for somebody to go fishing with today. Getting ready for the party Saturday. All right. No, JT's off. All right. Well, we got a few on here posted earlier that we would talk about a few things tonight, being Major League Fishing, sponsorships, and a little bit of mail. No, Mr. Tim, I'm not going to be able to make your party, and I hate that I'm not going to get to, but I'm not going to be able to make the party. I was wanting to, but I'm not going to be able to. But hope you guys have a good time. But has anybody been watching the Major League Fishing? They've been live streaming it all week down there in Florida on that new inaugural Major League Fishing events. I have been listening to it sporadically when I can at work. They've had some trouble with the live feed, and it's been in and out. I had to refresh my screen a lot this week on the Major League Fishing front. But I have thoroughly enjoyed watching and listening to it. Mostly I've been listening to the Major League Fishing. It's kind of funny. You see how those guys react when stuff happens. I know that there were a few F-bombs dropped today by Ish Monroe. I kind of got a kick out of that. I was watching, and I was watching today around lunch, and they had it on Ish, and he was fishing a little pad there, and he dropped a big F-bomb, and I'm like, what? I actually had to back it up like 2 or 3 times, and it was quite funny to when those announcers, when he started dropping bombs, and the announcers was like, they really didn't know what to say, but it was live, so it was pretty funny today when I was watching and hearing ish. But that's live TV. That's what you're gonna get. I'm sure he didn't care, but it was funny. But Major League Fishing was pretty good the last couple of days. I'm looking forward to listening to it tomorrow if I get a chance. I don't know if I will or not. I've just been kind of putting my headphones in and kind of listening to it while I work. But last couple of days, Major League Fishing has been pretty good, and I've enjoyed listening to it. Those guys have been catching some really good fish, and it's a lot of little fish caught and a lot of big fish caught. I know when it first started, some people was going to be like, well, it's just a minnow tournament, all they catch is little fish, and that formatted, it's made for TV, and they've been doing really good with it. And Major League Fishing is a really good. I like it. I wish I could fish the Major League Fishing events, but one of these days I will. Who knows? But if you ever have a event like that for YouTubers, I'm all in. But Major League Fishing has been really good this week. I've heard Game Changer, and I've heard First of Its Kind about 1,000 times. But they've been really, killing it. Good night, Mr. Tim. Good to see you again. Hope you have a good time on the water tomorrow. But Major League Fishing this week has been nice. I've enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to on the weekend when I can, get more chance and more opportunity to watch it live. But if you hadn't been watching it, Major League Fishing this week, they've been live streaming from down there, and just it's nice to watch a tournament live if you get a chance. But anyway, let's see, what was we going to talk about? Anybody got any questions tonight? Just type them in the comments below, and I'll try to get to them as much as I can. If you got a question about fishing, or I know I posted earlier about sponsorships and pro staff. If you want to talk about that, we can. And I've got a rod I'm going to show you guys here in a minute that I got into the mail. So just drop your comments below. If you've got them, I'll be more than happy to answer any and all questions you got. Or just say hey to me. Has anybody been fishing this week with the cold weather we've been having? It's been terrible. Going to work this morning, I've just dreaded every day. Hello, Becky. How are you, hon? Good to see you. My friend, Becky. We've got a few people watching. Let me show you guys a rod I got in the mail this week. Entered a contest, and I'd forgotten that I'd entered the contest. And I got a message from Luke Duncan. If you guys follow Luke Duncan, he is a FLW pro. He also has a podcast called Low Budget Live. I do listen to that some. But he posted on his Instagram that for a chance to give away at an Eagle Claw rod, all you had to do, I think, was be a subscriber to his YouTube channel. And I am. And I had actually forgot that I'd entered the contest. But I won. This was back in, I was one of the winners it was for Christmas giveaway, and I actually won a rod. And, when you win something, you'll think, well, I don't know if they're going to give it away for free, they're going to give me a cheapo rod. But no, this is not a cheapo rod. This is a Wright & McGill Eagle Claw. This is a 7'2" frog rod. Kind of a unique handle there. I'm really not used to that. I'm looking forward to getting me a reel to put on that. But this is the frog rod from it's a Skeet Reese model. I think it's 7'2". It's a medium heavy action, but the power is a heavy action rod. But has anybody ever used this type of Skeet Reese rod before? I'm not used to this grip. Not real sure how to hold it either. But I won this from Luke Duncan, gave this away with Eagle Claw, and I appreciated them. Like I said, I entered the contest, and I'd forgotten that it entered until he sent me a message on Instagram and said, hey, you're the winner. And I'm like, thanks, dude. But I appreciated it, and I'm looking forward to slapping a good reel on here. And you guys help me pick a reel. I'm not sure what type reel. I usually use exclusively Lew's reels. But I have been looking at the Cast King reels here recently. First started looking at them, they were very expensive. So I was kind of skeptical. A lot of times in the fishing industry, you kind of get what you pay for. But I'm seeing a few guys pop on here, and I know you guys fish. Have you ever used one of these Skeet Reese Eagle Claw rods? And help me pick a good reel to pick on this. If you've ever used Cast King, let me know. I'm a diehard Lew's guy, so I like Lew's. So if any of you guys, y'all give me some suggestions on this. Jeff's got 2 rods. Good. Are you using this grip here? Because I'm not used to this grip, and I'm not real sure how to use it, but I'll figure it out. But I've seen these in Walmart, and I looked it up, and this is actually a $100 rod. I looked it up on Tackle Warehouse, and it's a $100 rod. So, when you win something, you don't expect to get a whole lot because it's free. But I did get one of these, and this is not a cheap rod. It's a $100 rod, and I look forward to using it. So I'm excited about that. Good to see everybody on tonight. If I don't say hey to you, or I miss you guys, then I apologize. Worked great. Awesome run. But I was real happy to win that. Let me scroll back up on the comments. Somebody went Monday. Went Monday to Yellow Creek. So did I. I was actually off work that morning. I went to Yellow Creek and I caught 2 fish. One of those was a striped bass, little white bass, whatever you want to call them. And I caught one. It was a little, couple pounder, but I was in Yellow Creek and I did catch a couple. Didn't have but like 2 hours to spend that Monday morning, and I did go and had a good time. Just needed to kind of get out on the water and clear my head a little bit Monday morning, so I did have a good time. I caught mine. I caught one on a blade bait. I caught that striped bass on, which is one of the blade baits that I make. It's kind of funny. I had one tied on. I was using it, and I lost them. As you use blade baits a lot, and if you throw them where you catch fish, you do lose a lot of blade baits. And I went, and I'd actually left my box in the shop. I was making some, and I left my box, so I had one blade bait, and there was one tied on, and I lost it. So that's how it goes. But the other one I caught was on a Ned rig. I caught it on I was using a black and blue Z-Man, that new TRD crawl that they just came out with. And I really like that crawl. If you guys have not seen that new crawl from Z-Man, the TRD crawl, it's awesome. It looks awesome in the water. I had it on a weedless, one of those finesse shrooms, I think they call it. It was a little bit, that crawl is just a little bit too small to put on that Flatlands. I usually will use a Flatlands custom tackle weedless Ned head, but that crawl was just a little bit too short to put on that hook. So I would have used the weedless version because I was throwing in some wood and some rock, and didn't get a chance. But the weedless shroom head is a good head, and I love to use that as well. Side truck boat at Sportsman's, they were biting a jig good. I've caught some really nice fish on a jig. I'm just not a jig guy. I should be, fishing. Wintertime, and a jig is a very good lure to use in the wintertime, and I've caught some nice bass. All the fish that I've ever caught on a jig, it's been nice fish, but I don't know, just for some reason I always use the trailers that I put on a jig. I'll Texas rig those most of the time. For whatever reason, I just have a lot of success doing that. Charles, if you see me up there sometime, come on over and say hey to me. I'd love to talk with you and kind of swap out tips if you're on them that day and I'm not. Or if I'm on them, I'll tell you what I'm catching. People always say, well, why do you tell people what you catch your fish on. I've kind of backed away from the tournament scene. I don't do that. So if I can help people catch fish, I will. Doesn't bother me. I like doing it. I like talking fishing. But let's see here. Good to see everybody on tonight as well. I think I got 8 people watching. Good to see everybody. I mentioned on my post earlier that I was going to talk about pro staff and sponsorships. Is anybody here? What's your guys' opinion on pro staff versus sponsorships? And I got my opinions, and everybody else does. And to me, I like fishing. Hey, Tasha, how you doing? To me, pro staff. Sorry, I'm reading the comments over here. Where am I going fishing this weekend? I don't know if I'll get to go this weekend or not. If I do, it'll probably be Pickwick. That's usually where I fish primarily. Yellow Creek area, usually where I put in at, somewhere around state line. If I get a chance, I go. Don't know that I get a chance to go this weekend. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying about pro staff versus sponsorship versus, pro staff versus sponsorship. To me, if you're getting product or payment to represent a company, that's sponsorship. Pro staff is a little different. Pro staff, by definition, is promotional staff, meaning that you promote for them. And those sponsored anglers do the same. Pro staff, I'm on a couple of pro staffs myself, and I know a lot of people are. It's hard to get sponsorships. It's not too hard to get pro staff, because basically you're getting a discount off product to represent that company, being maybe the company says, okay, I'll put you on my pro staff. Here's, for example, 20% discount. And it's a marketing tool to an extent. You may get a little bit of discount, but at the end of the day, you're still buying product from that company, so you're still a customer. You may be getting a better discount than other people, but pro staff, that's kind of how it works. You promote those products and you get that discount. It works out pretty good for both people. I'm not saying anything bad about pro staff, because I am on pro staff on a couple of different things. One being Flatland Custom Tackle. I remember his pro staff. I just applied for Prim 1 Camo, was accepted to that, so you guys will be seeing some of that from me. And I'm working on a few other things. Sponsored anglers, I've not been paid to, I'm not going to say that. I have done some promotion for people in the past and gotten product or cash for that, and at that time I think I would maybe consider myself sponsored to a certain extent. But, as far as being a full-time sponsored angler, I've not reached that yet. I hope to be one day a full-blown sponsored angler to where I can get product and, maybe some cash for that. That's everybody's goal. But, very few people reach that unless you're like an FLW pro or a BASS pro or a Major League Fishing pro. I don't know too many people other than that fish hard full-time professionals that don't get goods or services or cash to fish. It just companies just can't afford it. I've had people in the past, message me. They know I need bait. I make some baits on occasion. Hey, you got a pro staff? I don't have a pro staff. It's just me, and I make baits on occasion. Sometimes I get in the mood to make some. Sometimes I don't. But it's just how that works. But as far as being a good pro staffer, if any of you are looking for tips on that, mine would be, promote those products as much as you can. Social media is really the way to go. Be it Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I focus primarily on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook as well. So those are good ways you can, if you're looking to get on a pro staff, one of the first things they're going to ask you is, what can you do for me? which they should. They're in their company, they're in the business to make money, and they're gonna, they're not gonna give you something for nothing. But I see a few guys on here jumping on, and I know you guys do fish because I see you and I follow you and I stalk you like everybody else does. So if you guys have any comments about pro staff versus sponsorship, I would love to hear you guys' opinions. Jump on here. I like to read the comments as much as I like to give my own as far as that goes. So you guys jump in here, and because I want to know you guys' opinions on pro staff versus sponsorships, and if you guys are on any, shoot those up, promote those as well, in the comment section below, and the companies that I work with, or you guys see me a lot, Flatlands Custom Tackle. Those guys a lot. I've been with them a couple of years now going on, and been real good to me. Like I said before, I just accepted, applied and got accepted to Prim 1 Camo. Be seeing some stuff from them in the future. And like I said, I'm working on a few other things. I don't go hardcore on that. Catch big fish, that's true. If you want to get sponsorships, catch big fish. That's true. Or win tournaments, I've had a lot of people ask, how do I get sponsorships? How do I get pro staff opportunities? Catching fish is definitely a way to go. Me, I focus, like I said, on the social media aspects, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. But they're looking for promotions. I see a lot of pros, and I follow a lot of pros locally, but I don't see them catch a lot of, or I don't see a lot of posts out of some people where I see that they could do better. Like I know some pros around here, local pros, that are absolute sticks, and they're hammers. But a lot of them won't show you a lot of stuff because they don't want people seeing what they're doing. And I get that. But because I'm a little bit on the, I've kind of stepped away from the tournaments. I don't care if somebody sees where I'm at as much as the rest of the guys. I still want to catch big fish and a lot of fish. And I like to do promotion as well. So Matthew says, win a tournament. That's true. You win a lot of tournaments. And, I see a lot of young kids ask me, about sponsorships. How do I do it? How do I go about doing? When I first got my first sponsorship is when I quit looking. I'd applied to a lot of different companies, and every one of them turned me down. Just because I wasn't fishing tournaments at that time, and I wasn't doing a whole lot on social media, so why would they? It kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, but I understood at the same time. But, and that's why I tell a lot of kids who ask me about that, I say, focus on your fishing first. If you focus on your fishing and focus on getting better at that, the sponsorships and the pro staff opportunities will come to you. You won't have to seek them out. So that's, if I had to give some advice, that would be the number one thing, is focus on your fishing, and then the rest will come. That's, and when I stopped focusing on that as far as trying to get some sponsorships, when I quit doing that and started focusing on making my YouTube content better and doing stuff that I wanted to do and doing stuff that I really enjoyed doing, then that's when the opportunities came my way. So if you're looking for any advice on that, that's how it worked for me. It may work for you a different way. But focus on your fishing first, and then the rest will come to you. Because if you're a good angler and you're good on social media, then, those companies will reach out to you. So, but y'all don't let me talk all the time. Let me hear some of your other guys. Who's on a pro staff? If you're on a pro staff, post that in the comments. I'd like to see who you guys are affiliated with, and like to support those if I can. Because I like to support other guys as much as I like to support myself. Some of you that are new or just joining me after the fact, I want a rod. If you hadn't seen that before, I entered the contest and I forgot I entered it. And then they sent me a message and said, hey, you want a rod? And I won this Wright McGill Eagle Claw Skeet Reese model frog rod. and really like this rod. It's not a cheap rod. It's a $100 rod. They sent it to me just for being a subscriber to a YouTube channel. And like I said, I forgot that I entered the contest until one is from Luke Duncan. If you guys have ever heard of Luke Duncan on the FLW Pro Tour, he sent this to me. I appreciate it. But I know Luke Duncan's probably not watching me. But appreciate that. I'm looking forward to slapping a lose reel on there and putting hurt on them. Probably will use this one. This is a frog rod, and I've got a couple other frog rods as well. I'll probably slap some braid on this one, and I may use this one as my spoon jacking rod for this summer when I flip docks with a spoon. If you guys have not done that, that's a killer way in the summertime to catch fish. When everybody else is out on the ledges, you can go in some docks. Certain times it works, just like any other technique, and you can absolutely murder them with a spoon. All right, question. How do you use the audio for your YouTube videos, and do I use an external mic? Yes. I have got, and I don't have it with me right now, I do use an external mic. I've got 2 GoPro cameras. I've got an older model. I think it's a Hero 3 Plus or a 4. I'm not real sure. But I've got an external mic that just plugs in the side of it. It's got a windscreen on it. Does really good on windy days. If it's not windy, I try not to use that because it does suck the battery life. And I have to swap out batteries a lot. But GoPro audio in itself, whether you've got a brand new one or an older model, the GoPro audio by itself is not that great. But it's good, but it's just not, professional quality. But it's a GoPro. It's an action camera. It's not a studio camera. But on my I've got also that was on my Hero 3 Plus or 4. Anyways, I'm not real sure of the model number. I think it's a 3 Plus. But on my newer one, it's a GoPro Hero 5, the new model that they've come out with. And I do have an external mic for it as well. But that one is I like that one a lot. And it just, but you have to have that little pack. And why they done that, I don't know. I wish I had my cameras here with me, and I would show you guys. But you got a little pack. It's about this big that you set up on, attached to your camera, and then you've got a 1/4-inch plug on that that hooks up, and you can do an external microphone that way. It's very gawky. I've got it glued to the top of my case, and then my external microphone in there. I don't like that setup because sometimes if that cord's a little loose, it wiggles, then it really screws up your audio, and you just wreck your video because your audio you just hear a bunch of noise. You don't hear anything at all out of it. But anyway, I probably need to do an updated setup on my camera setup. I've got an older video on my YouTube channel about that, but I don't have a newer version of my latest and greatest because I built a few mounts, and I got a few things extra that I've done to my cameras to kind of help out with it a little bit. But if you are watching and you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go over there and do that when we get done with this. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm close to getting my monetization back on YouTube. I don't know if you guys are familiar with YouTube or follow that at all. Before, a while back, anybody could get monetization, which means those ads that pop up when you watch a YouTube video. That's how YouTubers generate revenue. But now they've changed the rules. You got to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. I do have my 1,000 subscribers. I don't have my 4,000 hours of watch time. I'm trying real hard to get that. So if you guys have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Just type in Ernest Go Fishing, and it should bring me up, and you'll see this pretty face. But anyway, if anybody got any questions as far as YouTube, fishing, pro staff, how to do this, how to do that, please just type them below. I'm trying not to be overly rambling on this video. I was going to try to do a quick a quick YouTube video, a quick Facebook Live tonight. A lot of stuff going on. Major League Fishing has been going on this week. I've been watching that. Really been enjoying that. But you guys got any questions or comments? Just type them below. Who's going fishing this weekend? Let's just get that out there because it's supposed to be warm this weekend. The polar vortex hopefully is gone. I'm tired of it. It's been cold and I don't like it. I don't like cold weather. But hopefully, don't know if I'll get out this weekend. I'm going to try. But who's fishing this weekend and where are you fishing at? See, I've still got 10 people watching. I appreciate you 10 guys for sticking with me. What program do I use to edit my videos? A lot of people use Premiere Pro or that Adobe software. I don't because it's expensive. I use Power Director. It's a program that costs me about $70, $80. But it's a program that I bought and it's mine. I can upgrade. They've got a new program. I've got version, I'm not sure, 11 or so. They've got a new version of it out now. But I use Power Director. That's what I use. I don't use Adobe or whatever they call it, Final Cut Pro. I don't get super complicated with my videos. I have found that, you know, the simpler I can get it for myself, the better it is, and the faster that I can get it out. I did before I got the Power Director. I edited strictly from YouTube. They used to have a YouTube creator studio where you could edit videos together, and I did use that for a long time. You can't put a lot of effects on it or anything like that, which I don't do a lot of effects. I do some slow-mo intro stuff and some B-roll stuff sometimes. But I never have got just super complicated with it. I do like to watch guys who do put a lot of time and effort into those, and you can tell that a lot of those use Final Cut Pro and some of those high-dollar editing softwares, and those are guys that usually do it full-time. I just don't have the time to edit that much because you know, I've heard it a lot of time, and it's true. For 5 minutes of video, it takes you an hour worth of editing, and that is 100% true. Now, if you put a lot of fancy effects and slow motion and B-roll, stuff like that, it takes you longer than an hour to get 5 minutes worth of video. You wouldn't think that that would take a long time to do, but it does. So that's what programs I use. I try, you know, keep it as simple as I possibly can. Tommy Thompson's going to Pickwick this weekend. Well, Tommy, I hope you catch a boatload of fish this weekend. And all of you guys that are going this weekend, I hope you catch a bunch. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to go or not this weekend. I've got some other things going on, but hopefully I will. If I do, it won't be for long, but maybe I can sneak away for a couple hours. Might go to Fulton. Any suggestions? My suggestions this time of year, if you're going to Fulton, go to the lock. Sam, go to the lock with an Alabama rig or a small swim bait. You know, use one of the swim baits that you would put on an Alabama rig. Use it by itself, maybe on a spinning reel. Toss it out there around that lock. And count it down, count to 3, reel it in. If it don't work, count to 4. If it don't work, count to 2. Find the depth that they're in because they probably will be suspended. And just throw that Alabama rig around. There's a lot of little creeks and cuts that come into Fulton. Try those maybe with a jig or a little creature bait and just, or a Ned rig actually. Get you a Ned rig and throw around some wood and slow down. fish it real slow. If you're fishing any kind of soft plastic jig, just go real slow and you should be all right. And on the other side of that, with this warming trend, I would try maybe a rattle trap. If it's a little dirty, get you a red rattle trap and sling it as many times and as many places you can get it without hanging up. That's a good time from here to the pre-spawn. A red rattle trap is a lot of times money. That's a couple of suggestions that I would try. If anybody else has got some suggestions for Fulton, just type them in there. Or any suggestions for Pickwick, how you guys been catching them. I know Alabama rig right now, that's kind of a staple during winter time, especially on the tournament trail. I've heard it said a lot of times, if you're not winning with an Alabama rig, you're getting beat by it. And that's true in a lot of cases. I don't know about the offshore bite as far as ledges. I'm not really a ledge guy. If any of you guys here have done any good lately on the ledges, I know they've been pulling a ton of current. So I don't know how that bite is. If I was going to Pickwick this weekend, the first thing that I would do is check out Lou's Pickwick reports, because he's most of the time on the money about what's going on up there and how the bite's going. I always check Lou's Pickwick reports if I'm going up there. Good job, proud of you. Thank you, Betty. I appreciate you. All right. Has anybody got any questions or comments or want to talk about anything else before we start to wrap this up? My voice is getting a little bit tired. As you can't tell, I'm getting a little bit hoarse. Let me see who's still on here. Who's still watching? Tommy, Anthony, Justin Martindale's watching. Charles Watts, Tony, Stephen Guthrie, Betty, Sam, Justin Martindale. Mr. Copeland's watching. Good to see everybody tonight. I appreciate each and every one of y'all who jumped on here and ever used jerk baits. I do on occasion. Not much of a jerk bait fisherman because of my wrist. I've played drums and I've worked on a computer for about 25 years, and my wrists just ain't what they used to be. So jerk baits, they get a little hard on me sometimes. But if you got the right rod and reel set up, then yes, a jerk bait is absolutely fantastic. You know, the best jerk bait lesson that I ever got in my life was in a BFL tournament that I fished a long time ago, probably 15 years ago. I got paired up with a guy that he was a local guy, and asked him the night before at the tournament meeting. I said, what we're going to be doing, just to kind of get a good idea. He said, we're going to throw jerk baits tomorrow. And I said, all right. And I had never fished a jerk bait at that time, really. And I was probably in my mid-20s, which was a long time ago. And I even forgot the guy's name. And I went to Walmart that night and got me a couple of those Smithwick Rogues. And I got a clown color. That's what he told me to get, and that's what I got. And that's what he had. And he absolutely smoked the smallmouth that day. We were up in, and like I said, this was a long time ago. We were up in Panther Creek. And that's before side imaging and down imaging come along. And he said, we're going to fish over deep water and we're going to fish stump fields. And we were probably 50 yards off of the bank, kind of like fishing offshore, but there was a stump field underneath there at the mouth of Panther Creek. If you guys know where Panther Creek, and those stumps may have done rotted and gone by now. I hadn't been over there in years. But we fished jerk baits there all day long. And he absolutely hammered smallmouth all day long. And this was probably late February, early March tournament. And you know, that was the biggest jerkbait lesson I've ever had in my life, because he just absolutely killed them that day. I caught a few myself that day, and I'll tell you what, I couldn't even lift my arms by the end of the day. But he won the tournament that day, just fishing straight jerkbaits. He caught all smallmouth and just some monsters that day. But jerkbaits are a great cold water bait. Actually have been meaning to go up to, I've been wanting to go up to Wilson Lake. I know that is a very clear lake, and I've got reports that along those big deep bluff walls at Wilson Lake, that wintertime and jerkbaits is just the way to go. Now, don't know about colors or depth that way, but I've just heard that's a really good way if you're on Wilson Lake to catch a lot of fish, and I would love to go up there. Sometimes I've been to Wilson once, and it was several months ago, and I had a good time. It's a tough lake. It's very different from Pickwick. It is deep and clear, and Pickwick's not. And I know that kind of fish is similar to Bay Springs. If you are on Bay Springs, and I think, Anthony, you're closer down to Bay Springs, I would suggest jerkbaits this time of year because Bay Springs is clear. If any of you guys have fished Bay Springs lately, then jump on here, and are jerkbaits good this time of year on Bay Springs? I don't know. I couldn't give you any fact to that, but I'm pretty sure they are. I wouldn't doubt it. Charles, water was way down today on Pickwick compared to Monday. Yeah, I noticed that they had jumped that water up Monday compared to what it was a week ago. And I've been watching the TVA reports as far as the fluctuation in water. And the fish were scattered Monday, and I'm sure they are now for sure, especially with this cold front coming through. Probably getting ready for a big shad kill, if I had to guess, up there on Pickwick. If it hadn't started already with this cold water, I've been seeing a lot of birds, a lot of pelicans up there, and there's a lot of bird activity. So I'm guessing the shad kill is going to be pretty heavy this week, which is going to make the fishing even tougher. Does anybody else use jerk baits this time of year? I know it's a good way. I've got one. I don't have a lot of jerk baits. I like the old Rogues, the Smithwick Rogues. Haven't tried any of the KVDs or the Strike Kings. They all look good. I'm just used to an old school Rogue. It's probably got rusty hooks on it, and I'm still throwing it. So, let's see here. Who all's watching me? Got 11 still on here. Good to see everybody. I appreciate y'all once again for jumping on here with me. Just Martindale KVDs work very well. I'm going to have to get me some. They got some really good looking baits, really good looking jerk baits. And, you know, if it's got KVD's name on it, it's got to be good. Right? Ain't that how it works? We've got KVDs, guaranteed to catch fish. Am I wrong? But it's a funny story. We was watching fishing and a show with my wife, and she said, "Who's that guy?" And I said, "KVD," which I used to, you know, watch him fishing shows more than I do now. And she said, "God, he used to be a little skinny little old kid." I said, "Well, you know, honey's got old like the rest of us." Mega bass are awesome. Mega bass is expensive, man. You get some of those mega bass baits, and they are expensive. KVDs and Strike Kings are a lot cheaper. And I'm got a lot more access to them. We've got a local store here that carries Strike King, and I can get KVD jerk baits all day. And mega bass I have to order from Tackle Warehouse. What was that? What is it? I seen a jerk bait. I was watching. How does one go about sponsoring Ernest Go Fishing? Well, you just direct message me and send me a bunch of money, and I'll say, you guys go check out Chris Hatton. He's an all right guy. The Vision 110. That's the that's the jerkbait I was thinking of. I was watching Mikey Balls. I don't know if you guys watch Mikey Balls fishing. And he done a video. I think he was fishing Smith Lake or Gunnersville. And, you know, he had a video thinking that was, you know, that was like a $25 jerkbait. And he had a video on that, and it was a real good video. And he was just absolutely killing those on that Megabass Vision 110. And I think he might have been using the 110 plus 1. But that's a, you know, he was killing it. And I don't think he's affiliated with Megabass, but he was just showing that, hey, it was a good crank. Was this jerkbait worth $25? And judging by that video, it was. Never used a Megabass Vision, but it looked like it's good looking. He was on Smith Lake. Yep. But that looks, Megabass got some good looking stuff. That dark sleeper, little bitty swim bait they got, that looks great. I've seen some of those on those Japanese, on those Chinese websites that sell cheap knockoff lures, and they're like $1 or something compared to some of that Megabass stuff. It looks the same. I don't know. A lot of people don't realize a lot of lures are made in the same shops, whether it be a $20 lure or a $5 lure. A lot of those are made in the same shop. Rapala Shadow Wrap Deep. Rapala has some very excellent stuff. I love a DT6. It's a good spring bait. A red DT6, kind of like a demon color or a red crawfish color, and a DT6, or any of those DT series Rapalas are excellent. Rick Clun's are the best. Rick Clun is awesome. He is. I've watched Rick Clun ever since I was a kid, and he's always been a hero of mine. I'd love to meet him one day. He seems like a pretty cool dude. Got to change hooks on them. Lost some big Warrior River spots because the hooks break. Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, I was given some hooks by a buddy of mine. I was given some of those trapper hooks. They got kind of the funny bend on those trapper hooks. I've not got a chance to use those on anything. I've got them in a box, and I keep forgetting to swap them out on those. But if anybody has used any of the trapper hooks, I know my friend Blake, he likes those, and they look pretty cool. I think that I have tried maybe the light wire drop shot hook. I'm thinking that, but it was only like one time, so I can't attest to how good they are. But he likes those trapper hooks. So if you guys, if anybody have tried those trapper hooks, do you like them? Do you not like them? I like Mustad hooks. The triple grips are great. Those Mustad triple grip hooks are good. And I tell you what, Rattle Trap has really got some good. I mean, they're stock hooks, but I think they use Mustad is the hooks that they've got, and those are awesome. On just a regular Rattle Trap that you get, they use really good hooks on those. And I like crankbaits, and that come with good hooks. You know, it's kind of disappointing when you buy a $15 plug, and then you got to spend a lot more money to change the hooks out because they put just the cheapest hooks they can put on them. That kind of one of my pet peeves. If I'm gonna pay a lot for a bait, I expect the hooks to be good and me not have to change them out. But that is what it is. I fished a Coosa River on a lot and broke some hooks on some mean spots. Yep. Spotted bass are just like those things they fight as much as a smallmouth to me. I love catching spotted bass. There's some down on Bay Springs here, and there's some nice spotted bass. And actually below Bay Springs, I think the biggest spotted bass I've ever seen came out of Beaver Lake down here. And we were fishing a tournament And it was kind of funny. It was the first tournament I fished of the year, and there was like 15 of us, 15 boats, and one guy locked up to a beaver lake, and I think we were at Peppertown, and they were the only boat that caught fish, and they brought in, I think, about 3 fish, but one of them was like a 6-pound spot, biggest spot I've ever seen in my life. But love spotted bass, love to catch spotted bass. I catch them on occasion up at Pickwick. I catch them more down in Bay Springs and below there down at Saucer Creek and some of those other places. But to me, spotted bass are just, man, they're just straight up crazy when you catch those fish. They just go nuts. I mean, you get a 1-pounder to make you think that you got like a 5-pounder on. Love spotted bass. Love smallmouth too. Gosh, smallmouth is probably one of my favorites. Love largemouth, but spots and smallmouth, just the way they fight, it's just awesome. Let's see, Charles Watch, Struck King Wild Shiner Jerkbait. Works good on bass, just don't make them anymore. I'll have to look that up. Maybe we can get some of those on eBay. You might could find some of those on eBay. I'll look that up and give that a try. Biggest one I've seen was over 8 pounds. Wow, 8 pounds in North Georgia. I did see the video from a year or two ago where Cody Meyer caught that pretty well world record one out there in California, and that was just a giant spotted bass. It's kind of a secret lake that everybody kind of kept secret until he caught that pretty much world record. Now I think it's everybody's went out there now. So, let me move my screen for a second. All right, Spencer Gamagatsu, Aaron Martin's Finesse number 6 works great on a Vision 110. I'm going to have to try that Vision 110. I see a lot about it, see a lot of people say it's great. I don't know, just paying $25 for a jerkbait, just, I don't know, I can't bring myself to do it. I've bought some $25 baits that were great, and I bought some $25 baits that were absolute junk. And I'm sure we've all been there before. But, I don't know, the Vision 110 seems legit. I see a lot of people using it. Let me ask you something, Justin Martindale. If you had to buy one color in that Vision 110, what color would that be? If I said, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to try the Vision 110. What color, if I just could afford one color in that Vision 110, what would it be? Go to drop-offs. Thanks, Ernest. Yep, drop-offs are awesome. Tommy Thompson. Peacock Bass, John, Patrick Porterfield. Hello, Patrick. I ain't seen you in a while, man. How you doing? Got a few people jumping on and off here. All right, I'm getting about ready. If you guys haven't seen this before, I mentioned this a couple times already, but I did win a rod this week. I got this in this week. I entered a contest that I forgot that I entered. And they sent me a message and said, hey, you won a rod. And I thought, what in the world I win a rod for? But they sent me one. This is a Skeet Reese model, Eagle Claw, Wright McGill. This is a 7-foot, 2-inch frog rod. Heavy rod, medium fast action. Very nice rod. This is a $100 rod, and I won it from from a contest that I forgot that I entered. So that was kind of a nice little surprise there. Skeet fish frog rod. Looking forward to using this rod. Got a little funky handle here. Not used to that grip, but I'm going to give her a shot. Looking forward to it. Pro Blue, Justin Martindale. I will, you know what? I may give that a try. I may buy a Vision 110 in Pro Blue just to give it a good shot. Because I've heard a lot about it. It's cold water. It's cold weather. That might be worth a shot. I'm going to think about that. I may give that Vision a good try. Charles Watts seconded Justin's comment, Pro Blue. I'm going to look that up. When we get off here, I'm going to look it up. And I'm going to see, maybe I'll get one of those. Who knows? Got another question for you guys. How many guys that are on here kayak fish? That's a growing and very popular segment. Kayak fishing is getting really, really big. I know they've got some really good tournaments. If you're into tournaments, we camp a lot in the summertime, and I've been looking for a good kayak to just toss in the back of the truck, take us with it to the lake, and I'm looking at a couple of kayaks. I'm looking at, there's Walmart sells one, and then Bass Pro Shops has got that kayak. How many people go in here kayak, and do you have a good suggestion on kayaks? Because I'm probably going to get one this year. You guys will probably see some videos from me on that. While we're camping, I'll go to some different lakes and give that a try. Demon Color DT10 on the pick right now is awesome. I would agree with Brian. That is a very good depth right now. I know that I read Lou's report last week, and that was a good depth. I don't know if Lou has posted his weekly report yet. If it is, I would encourage each one of you to check out Lou's Pickwick report. He's usually right on the money when it comes to Pickwick. And I think he fishes a lot of the same areas that I do. But also this, like I said, I don't know if I get out this weekend or not. Got some other things going on. I don't know that I'll have an opportunity. I'm going to try to. And also, before the end of winter, I hope to get back up to Florence, Alabama with some shiners and drift up there with the current when it's not running 100 miles an hour with some big old shiners and catch me some smallmouth like I did earlier this year. And I absolutely had a ball up there with those big shiners floating down for smallmouth. I'm looking forward to doing that as soon as the current stabilizes a little bit more. Right now up on Pickwick, the current is really ripping every day, and just to drift with a live shiner, not very possible right now. I don't think it is. If anybody else has tried that, let me know, but I'm looking forward to that. But also looking forward to going back up to Wilson Lake. I had a good time up there. You know what? I may take that Mega Bass and go up to Wilson Lake because that water doesn't fluctuate quite as much as Pickwick on those bluff walls, and you know, I can do that. That might be something I could do. So I'll give that a shot maybe. But anyway, guys, I'm going to probably go ahead and sign off here for tonight. Been on here close to an hour. My throat's, I'm not used to talking this much. My throat's kind of hurting a little bit. But I appreciate everybody jumping on here with me tonight. If you have not already, please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you guys for the comments and you guys hanging out with me tonight and listening to me ramble. I appreciate all the comments and all the suggestions. I love each one of you guys. And get out there this weekend. Get on the water and fish if you can. It's going to be a really nice weekend. And hopefully this polar vortex will be gone. But like I said, subscribe to my channel. Appreciate you guys. Give us a thumbs up. And with that being said, see you guys tomorrow or whenever I see you down the road. Love you. Appreciate you. And I'm going.